Okay, well, it's running now.
I guess we can talk for a little bit to see if more people show up. Just do a little introduction about myself. My name's Lieutenant Jeremy Jones. Recently switched over to our West Valley Division. I transitioned when Lieutenant Jason Brown, who some of you might know, was the assistant division commander there. He went on to greener pastures, so to speak. He went on to our detective division, and I got a lucky assignment to come over and fill his shoes. I work with Captain Neil Valenzuela, who couldn't be here today. He's just getting back from a 11-day much-needed vacation on a cruise ship to Hawaii. So tomorrow is his first official day back. So he sent me thumbs up, and it's something that we had a good turnout tonight. So about myself, I've been on with the Sheriff's Office. This is my one and only job. I'm going on 14 years this year. My one job before this, I don't really call it a job. I played professional football and then got hurt, like most stories happen. I played for the Buffalo Bills, but I'm a diehard Raider fan, so grew up here. Well, we've been in the news, right? We don't seem to get anything right, which we gave up a draft pick for Tom Brady, and Tom Brady not even playing anymore. So, but I kind of translate everything I learned playing football into police work and leadership. And how might you ask, does those two blend? Well, I played football professionally too in Japan. I've had players and teammates from all over the United States and other countries. So basically having an open mind and being able to work with different people with different trains of thoughts, different upbringings has actually really helped that foundation to really understand and not take myself too serious at times. So that's me in a nutshell. Besides that, I graduated from the University of Texas El Paso with a bachelor's degree, and I have a master's degree, and working on my second master's degree right now from San Diego University with something kind of like this. I didn't think, but it's technology, foresight, just sneak in there. So I'll be done in February, so really close. My wife will be happy. So I'm actually really happy to serve you guys as well as Cupertino, Saratoga, and the town of Los Altos Hills as their division commander. They actually this is a breath of fresh air. I came over from different parts of the county where we don't have turnouts like this, and we don't have the face-to-face, or we don't really have the support. So doing a meeting at 7 o'clock at night is actually refreshing when other parts of towns it's really not. So I thank you guys for that. So getting into it, you think we're ready to start? It's about 7:03. I got a quick PowerPoint presentation about the technology. I'll really dive down deep into it, but I want to give us about 20 to 30 minutes to answer any questions. And again, this is a safe space, so no question is a bad question. Like I say, if you're thinking about it and you go, that's a dumb question, somebody else is probably thinking about it, or I probably thought about it before. So make sure you shoot away when it's time, and feel free to stop me anytime on the slides. So what we're here to talk about tonight is the automatic license plate reader program, which we actually started this. I was the project manager for this back in 2020 when we started doing the research on all of the technologies that were out there, and flock safety actually reigned supreme. So there was about 3 leading companies that were basically being tested out by other agencies in the area, but flock all the way down to Arizona, all the way south, kind of reigned supreme, and now they are the premier ALPR system with flock cameras almost in every state. So flock safety, what is flock safety? Have you guys noticed how many flock cameras are in the town of Los Altos?
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people are like, oh my God, these big old cameras, I'm not even going to see them. There's 42 cameras in the town of Los Altos.
How many in Los Altos Hills?
Oh, I'm sorry, Los Altos Hills. I keep saying Los Altos. The town of Los Altos Hills. In Los Altos, I think they got 6. But the town of Los Altos Hills right here, there's 42. They're really discreet. Unless you're actually really looking for them, you won't even really notice them. Most of the time, they're in the middle of the medians. They're a black pole, which I'll show you later. But what we have is the Falcon, which is right here. It's a little camera that's here. And they basically took the technology from the Ring camera system. Back in 2019, Ring didn't put a patent on their design. So a lot of people jumped on that and they used the technology from that, but it's basically like a Ring camera with it's solar power. But what it does is it takes hundreds of pictures of every car. So as soon as a car goes by, it just doesn't take one of the license plate. It takes 100 pictures of that car. And then with AI technology, it basically filters down to how many pictures are usable, right? So then it goes from 100 to 25. 25 of those are the license plate. They make sure they gets the best one, the best reading. Then those other 15 they discard, and then it gets the color of the car, and then it gets if there's any markings on the car. So then within seconds, 3 to 6 seconds, those 100 pictures of that one car, it will go down to 3 to 4 solid pictures. And that'll make sure then they compare it to make sure the license plate's right, or if there's a roof rack on it, or if there's a sticker on it, or if there's major damage, it will keep that picture. So one car might have 3 pictures, so then when we're looking for it. So what it does is detect through the camera system, and then it sends to our program, and it decodes. So it will send to the program that they have to see how many times that car has been through the town, or if that camera actually knows it. And then for law enforcement purposes, it will send it to our DMV database, and we'll make sure that that car's license plate it doesn't check registration, doesn't check anything like that. It checks if there's any wants on the car. So if the car is stolen, if a license plate was stolen from another car put on that car, if the car has a felony want, so if it has a homicide attached to it, carjacking, felony, stolen car, and then it also attaches missing persons. So if any missing person is attached to it, and I'll have a success story later about somebody that didn't know they had dementia, but on early onset dementia, where we used to flock to locate them. And then it delivers. It's really fast. I'm going really fast, but that's how fast it delivers. As soon as the car goes by, within 6 seconds, we get a text message to our phone. So we'll get a text message to our phone, not for every car, but only a car that's wanted or wanted within the system, right? So it shows phone there, the tablet, and then it shows our desktop. So all the deputies driving in their car with internet connection, they have it up. So then they'll get it to their car, and it'll do like a chime sound. 6 seconds to the phone is the fastest, and then because we have security measures on our internet, right, for the sheriff's office, so nobody can breach in, it takes about 11 seconds to go to our car, and then another 12 seconds total, so 11 and 12 for our desktop. So it's really fast. Okay, so we partnered. It's our partner in fighting crime. And that's what we say. And so we started back in 2020, and we've been really successful. So as you see here, this is a car. The one thing about the ALPR system is, and our county surveillance policy is, we do not do facial recognition. We were talking about it a little bit earlier about facial recognition in other countries, and a lot of people, the technology is so sophisticated, the angle of the car, you'll never see a person's face, ethnicity, a passenger in the car. Even if the kid was sticking its head out the window like this, and it picked up a face, guess what it would do? It would void it out. So it would void that photo out, because it falls under our surveillance policy. So we won't know who's driving that car, what it is. All we're looking for is the car. So what it shows us is the license plate. It'll tell us exactly what the license plate is. It'll tell us the make and model. Oop, did I touch something? Uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. So it'll tell us the make and model, and how it tells us the make and model is by the shape of the lights. So at night, if the car doesn't have a license plate on it, it can tell us up to a certain percentage by the shape of the lights. So that's an old FBI trick that we learned. So that's why cars can't change their body type every 2 years. It's every 2 years. So like Range Rover next year can't come out with a brand new car. The tail lights are going to be the same. And that's a trick for the FBI because it's an FBI technology. So they'll know based on probability of the shapes of the lights what type of car it is at night. Color, and then last visited. Why do you think that last visited or seen is important? Anybody want to take a guess?
Somebody reports a robbery or.
So what will happen is what will happen is if you guys are driving through the town, right? You guys are going to drive hundreds of times in a month, hundreds of times. Go to the store, back and forth. The camera system gets smarter every time the car drives by, so it learns because of other cameras. So it knows that you guys are residents because of the frequency of how many times. So if a car comes, let's say from Oakland, and it's never been here, and it has a lost or stolen plate, it's going to say, hey, this is the first time this car has been in this area, right? Kind of raises the suspicion, right? So then when we look and somebody calls and says, hey, there's this suspicious car that's been driving slow. Okay, do you have anything on the license plate? I couldn't really make it out. I seen it has an 8 on it. Well, what we can do is go in, hey, your cameras, your area, any car with the letter or the number 8 in their license plate. Doesn't matter where it is. And it will filter. Oh, well, within the last 24 hours, there's been this car. And then it'll put those cars that are not known to the residents or to the area up top. And then we can call you, hey, was it a gray Toyota? Yeah, so then we can get it. Oh, is it suspicious? Okay, we right to know, need to know. They say something suspicious and I run it. Oh, actually, yeah, this car, the license plate doesn't come back to a Toyota, it comes back to a white Toyota. So that car is cold plated, and that's a burglary technique a lot of people do, is I heard somebody talking about it. They'll steal a license plate from a car, the front license plate, and put it on the back of this car to try to circumvent the cameras. Because without knowing it, they'll just say, hey, you won't know that your license plate's stolen when you go to dinner until you park it in the garage and then you're like, oh, I missed my license plate. Well, maybe I'll just call in the morning. So what they're doing is they're driving around, they'll see what kind of house they want to burglarize, and then they'll go burglarize it, and then they'll change the license plate, right? So then it tries to lead us off. But we can go on here and look and say, hey, that license plate does not belong to it.
So what's a typical turn? If I call and say, hey, my license plate, I have my son, license plate was stolen, and I call the police, they'll say, well, you gotta go DMV, do a police report. What's a turnaround from the time I report it to the time it shows up on your databases?
So as soon as you call and tell us, and we'll put it in the system, it goes to Sacramento, and it could take up to 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is in our system, your front license plate got stolen. We can put it in our system. As soon as we hit click, that was a license plate that was stolen, the cameras will pick up on it immediately.
So it goes directly to you, it goes to DMV, but you don't have a delay because you're getting it immediately.
Yeah, we don't have a delay, so because we get it immediately. So even if we went to your house and we seen that your car got stolen from your garage, and we call and say, hey, this is the license plate, there still might be a little delay with the system up in Sacramento. So what we do is, before we even do anything, and this is what's great about the system is, hey, I went to your house. Oh my God, your Mercedes got stolen. Do you remember the license plate? No, I just remember it had a J and an F in it. Okay, what year was it? 96? And I go in my system, and it was just maybe 3 minutes ago. 96 Mercedes hot list got stolen from this address. Here's our case number. We're still working it. We haven't got all the details, but I'm gonna put it in here immediately. Boom. And then guess what? That car's probably still driving around. And then as soon as I hit boom, within 3 seconds, it hit another camera over here. Oh, it's right over here. So everybody goes, we stay here, we talk with you, make sure we're getting all the information. So then they go find it. So then that 4 hour delay time from us going back, sitting down, calling Sacramento and putting it in, this system is actually helping that. So it overlaps. So then when it does get registered with the DMV, then it just drops our inquiry off, and then it'll be on all the cameras. Okay, so going forward, it can grab, like I said, so that Mercedes right there, it took 100 pictures of that Mercedes. So even if it had no plate, it looking at what it has, does it have any bumper stickers, does it have anything in state detection? Usually it grabs 2 lanes, so you can see it grab the bus and that, and we get it in the reverse, so we get the back license plate. So that's the angle of the camera.
So do you always take it from 2 angles? Are you saying there's 2 cameras in each situation so you can catch the front and the back?
No, so then what we do is we talk with, great question. We have the flock safety. They have an engineer that comes out and looks at the layout of the town or the area that we're going to put it in. And then they do a survey of where the most heavily congested areas are coming. And then they utilize the camera as kind of like a net around the town. So instead of just putting one here, they look at where the best use is for it, where people are coming in, where people are coming out.
Does this make it look like it's one big town as opposed to lots of little towns
Yes.
in terms of the way it acts?
Well, the way it acts, yeah. And then that's the good thing, because before, the town of Los Altos was the first early adopter. Los Altos Hills, sorry. Town of Los Altos Hills was the first early adopters. They didn't share their camera networks with anyone. Well, thanks to Supervisor Simidian and the Board of Supervisors, they actually amended the surveillance policy for the county, and now they allow it to share. So even if we get 2 cameras here, guess what? We get access to all the cameras from Cupertino, Saratoga, and Los Altos Hills. So those 2 cameras have access to now over 60 cameras, and it uses a net for that whole area. But what we can do is we can go in. So if you tell me, we could just search your area. We could just search your cameras. But those cameras will be so smart already because the other cameras are feeding information into it. So that's the one good thing. So getting back to this, what it shows. Now this is a car that's stolen. So this is what we'll get. We'll get a text message of this within 6 seconds of it leaving the camera. It'll tell us exactly where it hit. It'll give us a picture of the car, and it'll give us the license plate. So our policy says that, because all technology could be wrong, right? There's a slight chance of it. A lot of times this isn't, because the system's really smart. What our policy says is we have to go to the area and we have to visually confirm that the license plate matches what the camera shows. Because a lot of times that V could be mistaken for a U, or the license plate cover could be covering a little bit, so an F could look like an E. So those things. How you doing, Father? So we get back and we visually run it out, and then we have our database to where we call over the radio and say, hey, I'm behind this car. It's license plate Charles Edward Victor 8812, CEV 8812. And instantly it'll go. Copy, that car is still stolen out of San Jose PD. Right? So it brought us there. We got behind it. We visually, now we pull it over and do a high-risk car stop because that car is stolen. Right? So we just never go, hey, we pull up on this car. It says they're stolen. So we cannot act upon just the technology alone. But this is what it will show. So what we'll do is, if we get something, and it just happened, if there's a murder in Fremont, and they'll let us know the license plate, right? And they'll tell us, hey, we just had a homicide in Fremont. So they're going to put it into their system, so any car associated is going to get it, but we'll do one step further. We'll just get the license plate and put it in our system immediately. So then if it pops up, we know. I already went over what it detects. I want to get to the stories now. Our hot list policy. So all this is very transparent on our website. So it'll show our unincorporated. It will show how many times we've done searches, how many plates it's ran, hot list, how many hot list vehicles have actually went through the camera. And what a hot list is remember, stolen car, a felony car, a missing car, anything on the hot list will show in our area. So how long does the process typically take? Honestly, we can get the data within 6 seconds. By the time the deputy confirms it, it's under 10 seconds. So we had in 2021 one of the success stories right up Saratoga at the gas station. An elderly couple got robbed at gunpoint. So with this technology, the technology by itself, right, it doesn't tell us anything, but with the help of the community members. So they got robbed, they got their car stolen, which was a van, and there was another Tesla that was driving. So they went right over here off, they went right here off Melagara. So right by Foothill, they parked, they took everything out of that van and put it in their car. Somebody called from the ring and said, hey, there's a weird car that was parked here. We go, what kind of car was it? They said a blue Tesla. And so we asked them. They were like, yeah, there was a blue car that was following our car. So we looked at their camera. We got the license plate right away. We ran it in flock. We knew exactly where they were going literally within 7 minutes of the armed robbery. They were on their way back to Vallejo because we found what the license plate was, and we called Vallejo PD. CHP followed them all the way to a house in Vallejo. Vallejo set up on them, and within an hour, we recovered all the property, arrested 2 of the individuals that fast from flock and from the ring camera, so working together. So, Sheriff's Office today, it's really small, but Los Altos Hills, 42 cameras, and as you can see, it's kind of been like a net. So they made a net, and in Los Altos Hills, Los Altos Hills, they actually kind of got every entry and exit point except for a few, but you can't enter into the town without hitting a camera. So you can drive around here for a little bit, but you know what we know? As soon as it hits off one of these cameras, then we go here, 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 here. So it's in that area. So then if it was a stolen car and it came off 280 and it went this way and it was stolen, what we do is we have a deputy go up here, we have a deputy go up here, and then get to here. So we kind of triangulate immediately, right? So even if I was thinking about doing something, then we know, and then we'll always check our cameras and we'll get updates. Saratoga, the city of Saratoga has 7 cameras, and as you see up there, privately funded cameras. So HOAs, private community members can buy cameras, and then they can tie into the system. So if you had a court and you wanted to get it, and then so like we have a HOA group that called and said, hey, we don't have a camera in our area, but we have a long street. We're gonna purchase the camera, and we want to add it to your guys' system. So when they buy it, they don't get anything but the image. So they don't get it ran through any of the police stuff. All the police, we get to see it on the police side. So we add it, even though the city's only paying for 7, they got 26 cameras. And even though they got 7 cameras, now they got an additional 42 cameras from Los Altos Hills, which it's not too far, and Cupertino is going to be on. So it's a whole web, right? So success stories now. This was one that happened in Los Altos Hills. It hit on a camera late at night. It was a stolen vehicle. The guy had just stole it. It went through the system, and they were driving around this was in the early mornings. Got in a pursuit all the way. It was probably trying to burglarize somebody. Stopped, pulled over, and then had a gun in the car, a bunch of stuff from the burglary, which we were all able to return. Everybody was safe, even the suspect. So that's a picture of the camera. So if you drive around today, look, there's 42 kind of in this area. And so they're kind of hidden. Sometimes we don't want the bad guys to know where they are because they're going to try to drive around. But again, we don't want to scare the community members with the technology. Because again, once it came in, this was COVID, a lot of people were kind of afraid of the big brother. But now if you go to the movie theaters or if you go on the freeway where the Fast Pass is, it's the same exact technology where they read your license plate. If you go to Santana Row for dinner and you pull in, it reads your license plate to let you know if you've been there for over half an hour, because then you're going to pay, right? So then as soon as you go through the arms, it takes a picture of your license plate and it says, and then the timer starts. So then when you come out, it says, oh, you've only been here for 15 minutes, your parking's free, right? So it's the same exact technology. two success stories. And I'll end with the one I like more, but this one, we have one in Saratoga, right off 85 in Saratoga, right there by the library, heading towards downtown Saratoga. So a car gets stolen from Petaluma and committed a bank robbery, an ATM robbery, and was driving. So they called and we put it in our camera system. So as soon as it turned off Saratoga going up towards Big Basin, it hit a camera. Deputy was there right at the library writing his report, and he goes, ding. Wanted vehicle for a robbery. Camera right across the street. He looks, oh, it's at the light. Gets behind it. The guy doesn't know his car's thing, so gets here, hey, I'm behind it, confirms it. Yes, still wanted for robbery and associated with a firearm. So before he knows it, the guy pulls the car, throws the keys out, puts his hands out the window. He had a bulletproof vest, 2 ARs, high capacity magazine rifles, and he had a warrant out of Canada for multiple bank robberies up in Canada. And he was heading up towards Big Basin, towards the Wells Fargo up there, because he had it all mapped out. So what he was doing was going to city, committing bank robberies, and before they were figuring out everything, the investigative part, he was going to the next town or city. So that's how fast it was to safeguard the town. Just 2 weeks ago, Fremont had a homicide where a neighbor shot his neighbor and said he wanted to get in a shootout with police. So as soon as they knew what kind of car it was, the license plate, they ran in flock, and it hit off next to our police station in San Jose off 1st Street. So they call us and go, hey, this car just committed a homicide. It's driving. Be on the lookout. So we go there. We're flooding the area. We're going. Most of the people left. And then we get maybe 20 minutes later, we get an alert. Saratoga at Big Basin. So we already had this intel that he was going somewhere heavily populated to cause more harm to other people. So what did we do? As soon as it hit, everybody flooded Big Basin area. A lot of the consumers over there were upset about the police presence, but they didn't know what was going on. So the guy actually did drive through Big Basin, and because there were so many police cars, he drove up 92, went to the San Mateo Bridge, and then turned and came back around this way. And then he was finally found in Livermore because of the camera system on flock, and he gave up. He was arrested without incident, but that's how much you can safeguard. So crime actually reduces a lot. It says up to 30%, but the number is staggering because we can't quantify it, because as soon as a car hits the camera and when deputies come, they flee. So they never actually get to commit whatever they're trying to commit. So then we can't quantify that, right? So I say this technology is worth its weight in gold. And then the last success story I'm